And welcome back. As we go ahead and jump into our work with arrays, we're going to go ahead and take a quick discussion of a pitfall that you might encounter, which is that arrays of characters are actually not strings. So as we examine this viewpoint, an array of characters, such as the array A we're creating below, is conceptually a list of characters. Therefore, we could almost argue that it's conceptually like a string. So if I say that char A equals A, B, I, G, H, I, so it's saying A, big, high, right? And so we do also have like a space in here too as well. It looks like this could be a string. However, an array of characters, such as A, is not the object of the class string. And that's a very important distinction. Even though a string is really, in Java, an array of characters, it is not the exact same thing. So if we were to say, for example, string s equals A, we would get an error because it is not a one-to-one conversion. Now, you cannot normally use an array of characters, such as A, as an argument for a parameter of type string. It is easy, however, to convert that array of characters to an object of type string. The class string has a constructor that has a single parameter of type char, array. So notice that. It's not just a char, it's a char array. And you can obtain a string value corresponding to an array of characters such as following. String s equals new string A. Notice we're doing effectively a constructor of the string class here. Now, the object s in this example would have the same sequence of characters as the array A. But an important thing to keep in mind is that the object s is an independent copy. Any changes that we make to that original array A would have no effect on s. They are independent copies here. They're deep copies. Now, note that whatever we ultimately do here with this, it's always going to take in the entire array A. It's not going to take in part of the array. It's not going to start at a certain value. It's always going to pass in the entire value of that array. Now, there is a string constructor that allows you to specify a subrange of an array of characters. So, for example, if I were to say string s2 equals new string A 2, 3, this is going to produce a string object with 3 characters from the array A starting at index 2. And if A is listed as above, then the string output of S2 would be big, because we're saying, look at what array do we want to pass in. We're passing an array. Where do you want to start that array? We're starting at position 2. And how long do you want that to go for? Now, although an array of characters is not an object of class string, it does have some things in common with string objects. You can output an array of characters using print lines such as follows. System.println A, which of course would produce the output A big high, provided A is given as we have defined previously. And so let's go ahead and pop right over into Clips to go ahead and demonstrate this and just show exactly what we have been showing. So in here, of course, I have a character array, a word, and I have this set to HELLO. So hello, pretty simple. And I have a string called word, and I have a print line statement that can output word. Now, if I want to test this out, let's just say I want to set this equal to a word. You'll notice we still have an error. I no longer have an error here for the print line statement because now I've defined what word is. However, it doesn't know how to handle a word because, remember, a character array is not the same thing as a string. Even though a string takes in a character array, it is not, again, a one-to-one identical. So we need to create a new string, and we're going to cast this around a word. And when we do that, you'll see that we now, because we've passed it as a parameter, we now have a valid set of code here. So let's just quickly give that a run. And you'll see we get the output, hello. Now, what if I wanted to parameterize this? Like I said in the example. So let's have this go for 1, and I'm going to have this go for 3 letters. All right, so now if I go ahead and run this, I get L. So again, pretty easy on how you can use this. An important distinction though. And one more thing I'm just going to demonstrate here. Let's just do system.out.println. And let's just print out a word. And you can see we can pass that in as a valid parameter. So you can still output that array. And if I want to show that if we change a value of a word, so let's just change the first letter from H. So we'll say position 0. And let's set that equal to the character B. So we have bellow. Little odd spelling there, but that's okay. Just demonstrating this. If I go ahead and change it, you'll notice it doesn't change the output at all of this. In fact, even if I rescind this back, because of course we can't see that first character, even if I were to run this again, you see we can still get hello and then bellow, because again, this only affects the character array. It doesn't affect the string because it's making that independent deep copy. So this is something to keep in mind if you ever have to work with a character array, is that again, it's not a one-to-one cast of a string. Now, if you do say, well, what if I want to put this as a string? Use the string conversion here. So very important distinction there to keep that in mind, because again, if you try to use this as a character array, you're going to run into that error.